Hey guys, today we're going to set up Selenium and install the WebDriver for Firefox. We're going to be doing this using Python. So the WebDriver for Firefox is Gecko driver. So I'm going to go over the steps you would use to install this. So I'm using Linux as a development environment, but this is it's not too far off from what you would do if you were using either Windows or Mac OS. So it's nothing. A few things are going to be different, like your environment variables and stuff. But other than that, it's mostly very similar. And also, the example code should be pretty much exactly the same. So let's go over this. This should be pretty quick. This is just to get started and set up. We're using Firefox. We could use other browsers like Chrome or something, but in this example, it's going to be Firefox. You might also want to keep an eye out for our next video where we're going to show you how to use Selenium to create a Twitter bot, but not in this video, in the next video. So keep an eye out for that one. So let's get started here with the first steps. Well, a few things I should mention. You're going to want to have Firefox installed. You're going to need Python, specifically Python 3 and pip3 installed. So we're not showing you how to install Python or how to install pip3. So yeah, you're going to want to have Python installed. Actually, we are going to show you how to install pip3 if you don't have that. But we, in our example, we're working with Ubuntu 20.04, and Python 3 comes installed by default with that. You would actually type Python 3 rather than just, if you just type Python, you're going to get Python 2. If you type Python 3, you get Python 3. So that's basically how it is in our environment. All right, so I actually already have pip3 installed, but I'm going to show you basically what I ran to install pip3. So we ran sudo apt install python 3.pip3. This is the pip3 package for Ubuntu. So basically just like this, and there we go. It is apparently upgrading it. All right, so we've got pip3. It's already installed, but it looks like it upgraded for us. So the next thing we actually need to install Selenium. So this will give us the Python libraries and maybe other things. But you can use pip, which I guess that's. Anyways, let's run this pip install Selenium, and it says your requirement already satisfied because Selenium is already installed. So there we go. That's pretty much what you do to install it. Now the next thing you need to install is the Gecko driver. So there's a link in our guide here. You can just click on this, open it right up. And you will see down here, you can scroll down here. This is on their GitHub page. And you can go to Gecko driver. And they have it for macOS and Windows too. And they even have the source if you want to compile it. For me, I'm using Linux, so I picked the Linux 64-bit version. So this guy right here. And yeah, so once you have that, so you can you could either download it manually, right-clicking and downloading it and putting it in the right directory, or you could use wget just to pull it right down from the terminal to the whatever location you want. Now, if you use wget, you can just copy what I have here, but I would recommend going to this page and making sure you have the latest link. So you could right-click on this and say copy link address, and that way you can get the latest link address in case this one is not the latest version. So don't rely on what I have on the page here or in the document. Check that you do have the latest version and use wget on that. I'd recommend that if you're lazy and you don't feel like it, you could just run this if you just want to get it up and running really quick and you don't want to take the extra steps. Next thing you'll do is run tar xvfz, and the X will extract it. The V just gives a verbose output, F specifies that you're working on a file, and Z will unzip it. So this is a tar gzip. It's a gzipped tar file. So we're going to need to ungzip it or gunzip it and then untar it also. And the contents of this file is just a single executable, and that's our Gecko driver. So what we need to do is just make sure that executable is on our path. So we export the path like this, export path equals, to just basically just adding another path to our path variable, specifying where the Gecko driver is installed. In my case, I just put it in my home directory. So let's take a look there. Let's just jump back a directory and let's see here, Gecko. So here we go. So this is the tar.gz file, and this is the actual executable. And yeah, so you can see this is it's a binary file, and I just put it in my home directory, which is right here, and I just make sure that's on the path. There we go. Here's my path. This is what my path looks like. I have a bunch of things on my path. One of the more recent things I added was at the end here was home user 1. It's my home directory. So yeah, so to wget this, I'm just going to paste this command in here. I'm going to actually run this. It's just going to give me another copy of the same file with a slightly different name. So you can run wget like this, and it pulls down the file pretty quickly. Let's just echo anything with, see, here we go. This is the one it just downloaded just now, and this is the one I downloaded earlier today. The date is not today's date, that's the date that it was created on. So, and we can, we can unpack it like this. We could say tar xvfz, and we could go like this and say paste. Whoops. We can just copy this and paste it in here, and there we go. We ungzipped it even though the file is already there. So we're going to see the same thing, but if unpacking it like that will result in this file right here. All right, so yeah, so that's that. That's how you unpack the drive. That's how you download and unpack the driver, or at least how I do it. You could also unpack it with a GUI tool if you want, and you could also just download it directly with your browser. You could just come here and whatever. I'm sure you know how to do that. So anyways, yes, add it to your path. I'm just going to show you how you add it to your path. So it's already on my path, but you would say export path equals, and then $path for your path variable, a colon, and then your whatever directory you installed the Gecko driver in. I just put it in my home directory. It's kind of a messy place to just throw something, but that's what I'm using for now for testing purposes. So also, one thing you might want to do is put this in your bash rc file. So let's see. I'm going to take a look at my .bash rc file, and you'll notice down here at the bottom, export path equals path home user. So if you put this in your bash rc file, this is run every time you log in. So every time you open a new terminal, the path is going to be set up for you, and you don't have to run that command over again. So just a handy thing to do. So that's that. That's how you'd set up the environment, and that's basically it. That's all you have to do to set up your Selenium for Firefox. So just to recap real quick before we get into the code, you install pip3 if you don't have it already. Python should be there, assuming you're using the same environment that I'm using here. Then you run pip3 to install Selenium, the Python drivers. You run wget to get your Gecko driver, unpack it, put it on your path. Also put that command in your bash rc, and that's it. You're good to go. One thing I should mention is that you should have Java installed. I just installed the JDK because I work with Java also, but you technically, I believe you just need the JRE, and that it needs to be on your path. So so like the bin directory in your Java distribution, I believe, just has to be on your path, but you need to be able to run the Java command. You need to be able to open a terminal and just type Java, or just be able to type Java and have that command work. So you need to have, and that's kind of out of the scope of this video. Yeah, so basically you need to be able to run the Java command, and that's a prerequisite for this. And I actually have not verified. I have not installed this on a system without Java, so I have not verified that requirement. I've always just had Java installed, so I can't. I don't want to misspeak or anything, but if you run into any issues not having Java, that very well could be it. But I have not tested that part yet. All right, so yeah. Anyways, moving along here, let's take a look at the actual code. This is just like almost the simplest demo we could possibly come up with. I actually wrote this. This is the code snippet in our guide over here. But let me move this file right over here, and or this terminal. So we're inside the file where our sample is. So this is test1.py, and this is our simplest Selenium example that we came up with. So you'll notice at the top, we import a few things from Selenium. We import the WebDriver, the timeout exception, WebDriver wait, and expected conditions as EC. Just a few standard things that we're importing. I would just put this in anything that uses Selenium. So anyways, we also have the import time. So we're definitely going to make heavy use of that. That's not a Selenium library. It's just a standard Python thing. But we actually use this a little bit here, but we use it quite a bit more in some of our larger scripts. But timing is key with Selenium and with automating web stuff. You want to make sure you wait until a page is actually loaded, and you want to, we have other functions for that in some cases. You also want to do things slowly so you don't seem like a bot, assuming you're trying to fool a website into thinking that you're a real user. If you're just using it to test your own web app, that doesn't matter as much, but you might want to go a little bit slowly, like if you're automating Twitter or something else where they might not necessarily want you to use automation. You might want to stay under the radar, and you might want to not do things too quickly to flag yourself as a bot or something. Anyways, so yeah, we make heavy use of the sleep function, which is in time, so that's why we're importing time. So moving along here, first thing we do is we get an instance of our WebDriver. We're using the Firefox WebDriver, so we're just assigning that to this driver variable. And then we do most things from the driver variable. So we take this driver variable and we say get, and we specify a URL. In this case, it's google.com. So that's basically going to tell the browser to load this URL. It's going to load Google, and we will print out the title. Now we should probably put a wait here or something, but it's fine. That does load pretty quick, but you might want to put a sleep here, or you might want to wait for the title text to say title. We actually have that down here. So we'll get to that line. It's a few lines down, but so the next thing we'll talk about. Well, first, this print statement. If you want to get the title of the page, you can easily get that value in the title variable of driver. And next thing is the input element. So this is just what we're naming the variable, but this is an input element. So we say driver find element by name. That's one of the functions, one of the many functions that Selenium has, and you can search for an element by the name of that element. In this case, we're lucky. Google decided to name their input field Q for, I guess, Q for query, but that makes it very easy to find. So we can get this is the search query field for Google, and we just assign this to this variable. So then we can take this query field and say send keys, and we're going to send the keys in this string that we specify as a parameter. So in this case, we're just searching for funny cat videos. So we send the keys funny cat videos, and that's as if we had typed it into the field in the browser ourselves. So this is just going to tell the browser to actually take those keystrokes in that field. And then on this same element, we can just call submit, and that will submit the form. And we didn't actually have to search for the submit button or anything like that. We could just tell the form to submit for us, and apparently that works. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try, because this one throws an exception. And there's a finally where it will sleep for 10 seconds and quit at the end. And the reason I put time sleep 10 is because once it finishes doing its work, I don't want it to just kill the browser immediately and then you won't even get to see what it did, because the whole thing goes so quickly. It will basically load the page, do the search, and then close the browser before you can even look at it and verify that it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I put a time sleep 10, so it will just stay open for at least 10 seconds and you get to actually look at what it did and look and just verify the results yourself. So anyways, so in this try statement, we have Webdriver wait. So this is going to wait, and we specify the driver and the number of seconds before it times out and stops waiting, in which case it would fail. But we would say until EC title contains, and we are going to, and we specify the title that we expect it to contain. So when we search for funny cat videos, once that search finishes loading the new page, the title should be funny cat videos. So once the title contains that, we know our page is loaded completely. That's a pretty good indicator that it's loaded completely, and we then print out the title of the page. Now we didn't do that when we initially loaded Google, but we could have done that, and it might have been better if we had done that, if we had just waited for the page to contain contain a known title. But we didn't even bother to do that there, and this script actually works fine without doing that. It might take a little bit longer to get search results, and you might have trouble if you don't do that here, or you might not. We could try it both ways. In some cases, you are going to want to wait for a specific title to load, if it's, I guess if it's like a slow loading page or something. But that's about it. That's how our script works. Let's do a quick demo and show you what this script can actually do. So I've already saved this, so I'm actually going to go into test Selenium and say Python, and remember, run Python 3 instead of Python. If you run Python, if you just run Python, that's Python 2. If you run Python 3, you get Python 3. So I believe you need Python 3. Don't quote me on that. I have not attempted to do this with Python and with Python 2 and forever. I believe that was an actual requirement that you need Python 3 for this, though. If not, you should probably use Python 3 anyways at this point. It used to be that both were valid choices, but now these days Python 3 is the way to go. Most things have been ported over, etc., etc. Anyways, you use Python 3, save yourself some trouble. So let's say test1.py. That's this file that we were just looking at over here. I'll just show you. See, test1.py. That's this file that we just went through. So let's run this script and see what it does. So we'll run this, and there we go. We can see it loads Firefox over there, and it did a search for funny cat videos. And basically, had we not put that wait for 10 seconds, it would have basically just closed the browser almost immediately after doing that search, and we wouldn't really be able to verify that it did anything. But anyways, that's pretty much it for today. That's all I wanted to show you in this video. You're going to want to keep an eye out for our next video, where we show you how to automate Twitter using Selenium. We're going to do some basic things like check how many followers you have. We're going to do, show you how to log in and how to search for things and see which users were which usernames are associated with the top posts for a certain search. We're basically going to cover that stuff in our next video of Selenium Twitter automation. So keep an eye out for that. You might want to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so you get an alert when a new video comes out. You're probably going to want to give us a thumbs up for this video. Your call though, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. But the more important thing is that if you have any comments, definitely leave a comment down below. Comments, questions, criticisms. I try to read all the comments eventually, and usually I try to reply to people when I can. So do leave a comment down below. We want to know what you think. Hopefully you found this useful. Hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. But that's pretty much it for today. So thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next time.